On that note, you want to welcome back everybody to the next episode. We're still in Van, and today we're diversifying our, from the South Asian confined and Punjabi community to Nelson. Nelson, I know you have a background in CPA. You're an author of the book Financial Literacy that he kindly brought on. So thank you. And then I know you had it written with your partners Matt, Stan, and yourself. So thank you for coming on, Nelson. It's a pleasure having you. And I'm looking forward to this talk. It's one of the things that we haven't fully dove into. We've spoken about it briefly. So introduce you to the audience that might not know about yourself and, just a brief history of who you are, man.
Yeah, awesome. No, thanks for having me here. This is something I really look forward to. And I saw the name of your podcast and I was like, oh, it's a little bit different. Maybe I can bring a little bit different flavor, but, same values, same sort of background that we share.
Yeah.
So for me, I was born in Singapore, but not born and raised, but raised here pretty much all my life. So Vancouver is kind of home for me.
Yeah.
I'm a CPA, so I did the Chartered Accountant Legacy Program back in the day, and then climbed the corporate ladder in my career. The short stories, I realized I didn't like it. Wanted to start my own thing. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Sales and being an entrepreneur was always in my blood. Ever since I was a teenager, I was always just trying to sell stuff and using Craigslist and things like that. So I'm entrepreneurship's in the blood, and I have to do it. So now I'm a practicing CPA. I have my own business consulting agency. Nice. I'm also a realtor, and I also teach financial literacy. So those are kind of the things that all tie together. So as a fractional CFO is what part of our business consultancy we do. I teach financial literacy to business owners, because you'd be surprised how many business owners just run their business and they actually don't know the numbers behind it. So we teach them business financial literacy, and then I use my personal branding for personal financial literacy. So I talk at schools, conferences.
Wow.
I create courses. I'm trying to help influence the next generation and get them set for success with financial literacy. And then the third one, real estate, all kind of ties in, because when we're making probably the biggest financial decisions of our lives with purchasing a home, we need to be financially literate. We need to know the basics and make sure that we're set and that we're making the right decisions.
No, it's so true. And then the cool concept about yourself is you kind of brought in two things together, the business aspect of it, and also people that are as individual, they can take a lot away from some of the reels that I watch, some of yours, how to become debt free or even financially plan day to day, because that's the one thing that we do lack as well, just the understanding of financial literacy. What is that? We all hear it. We all see the books, we see the reels, financial literacy, but not a lot of people actually dive into what that is. And a lot of the time we're not taught, as we were speaking about this before the podcast started, it's we're not taught what is financial literacy. We're taught, as you said, just climb that corporate ladder, which is not a negative thing. A lot of people do enjoy that atmosphere and the environment where, get a day-to-day job, but what does that mean when it comes to the money aspect of it? I'm an accountant as well. So actually I dropped out midway to my CPA. I'm no, even if I finish this, I will not utilize this at all, just given where I was going. So after my first module, I'm not doing this. So I actually dropped out. And then I started my own business. So, I understand, I understood certain things, when it comes to financial side of it, how to take care of certain aspect of expenses and how to utilize certain things. But at a young age, that's just due to my dad. But a lot of people don't have that. They grow up in a expense free mindset where spend as much as you want. They're making $4,000, but they're spending $5,000 a month. It doesn't make any sense, right? Yeah. Especially we're 31 now. We come across so many couples and even individuals that have no idea of what a budget is and how they should even budget out. So and for yourself, Nelson, you probably came across clients or even individuals, even now you're as a real estate agent, that people have no idea how they're budgeting the money at all, right? So speak on that a little bit more.
Yeah, totally. So I actually did a TEDx talk a couple years ago here in Vancouver, and I shared my story actually as a CPA, because as a CPA, you're always known as a numbers person, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I talk to my friends about money, they're like, oh, you're a CPA. You probably have it all under control.
Yeah.
And I was living a lie for so many years, right? Because I didn't have it under control. I was 5 years into my career, climbed the corporate ladder, had manager, director title. And one day I sat down and I looked at my finances and I'm I had no plan. What you were saying, right? I didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah.
All I knew is that I had a good paycheck coming in and I spent a little bit less than I made, and every month, my bank account was slowly going up, and I'm like, this seems like it's legit. Like, it seems like it works.
Yeah.
But then when I step back and I look at the big picture, I'm like, holy crap, like, I actually don't have a plan. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to invest like 5 to 7 years of my life, like just learning about financial literacy, learning. So when you say like people don't even know what financial literacy means, to me, my definition is financial literacy means understanding money and how it works. Everybody understands money.
Yep.
Right? Like, we know, okay, you use this tool to buy stuff and buy services, buy goods, but not many people know how it works. Like, how do we multiply it when we're sitting here talking? How do we use it to our advantage? And then how do we use it to help other people? Right? So that moment for me was kind of like, I don't know if you guys watch like TSN or whatever, but it was the TSN turning point for my life, right? I was like, I'm a CPA. People are depending on me to help manage money and give like financial advice, like personally, professionally, but I don't even have it together myself. So when the TEDx organization said, hey, we think you have a great story, would you like to pitch it? I was like, absolutely. And it was probably one of the most scary things I had to do, because I was super vulnerable on stage, going up there saying, hey, I'm a CPA, but I don't even know what my money situation is going on here. But then I turned it around, right? I flipped the switch and was able to become financially literate, create a plan. And now, like, my goal is, and my purpose is to help other people do the same. So whether it's in business, personal life, in real estate, helping, high school students, young adults build that foundation so they understand money and then know how to use it. How does it work? Because we're not taught this stuff.
I mean, it's true though, because like even let's say, for example, like growing like South Asian communities, like money is like, okay, as long as it's not a bank, it's great. Like, hey, look, we have a 50,000 bank account, but like it's not doing anything. It's been sitting there for 3-4 years, but it's not doing anything, right? So, one thing I want to dissect with you is like there's a path you take, like real estate, like obviously the initial investment. So what that means. So I wanted to break it down from like initial to your like mid and long term. Long term, obviously, as you've spoken to, is more so like on the real estate side. Like that's the big jump. But initially, like the initial aspect of starting investing, what would you consider that? Is it just like starting your TFSA account, or like start pitching in, even if it's $100 like every paycheck or $200 a paycheck? What would you say the initial step should be for like anybody that's listening that wants to invest? What would that be?
Yeah, so short-term, medium-term, long-term goals kind of thing when investing. When you're just starting out, one thing I wish I did, so I started working when I was like 16, 17, right? And I started making paycheck. And if I could turn back time, I would have taken 10% of my income, like after-tax income, like, you get your paycheck, you get all those deductions that we all love to see. 10% of whatever's left in your bank account, that goes into your bank account, put that away, whether it's into a TFSA, RSP, whatever you feel like. If you're younger, I believe that TFSA is the better tool because your income will tend to grow as you grow into your career. And the great thing about the RSP is that it gives you a tax reduction, right? So as your income is increasing, you're getting actually a bigger tax break because of the progressive tax system we have here in Canada.
Exactly.
So TFSA is actually a great tool. $100 a month or whatever you can afford, $100 a paycheck, it goes a long way. Like you multiply that over 5 years, 10 years, 30 years. Like if you do the math, like if you started investing, say at 18, and you put $100 in a month and you keep that going for 30 years, you actually get further than somebody who's, let's say, 30 and invest like $500, like 5 times more. By the time you both get to 50 years old, you'll see that an 18-year-old's investment for that extra 10, 12 years is significantly more. So like the earlier you start, the more consistent you are with it, then the further you're going to go in the long run. And I think a lot of young people can't see that vision, and I'm trying to paint that picture for them. Because what we see when we're 18, we all went through it, right? We see like, I want to buy a car. I want to buy these nice kicks. I want to buy new iPhone. So we really have to shift the perspective here on how we teach financial literacy.
And then when it comes to like TFSA, right? Like it's great. Like we said TFSA, but a lot of people don't understand like the channels they can go through to create that account. Like they can go through like, obviously you go through your bank, or you can go through a private like wealth management or whatever it is, like even Interactor, broker or whatever it is, right? So like speak on that, like what type of outlets people can use to actually set it up, because everybody said like, oh, set up a TFSA, but nobody actually dives deep into like what that means, right? So like speak on that as well for people like, okay, how do you want to start your TFSA? Like go to your bank or whatever it is. What are some outlets that people can use to actually set it up?
Yeah, so maybe I'll take half a step back here.
Yeah.
And a TFSA is a tax-free savings account.
Yeah.
And every year the government tells you how much you can contribute. It's called your contribution limit. And it starts when you can open one when you're 18.
Yep.
And every year your contribution limit goes up,
Yep.
right? And it's cumulative.
Yep.
So if you don't use the whole thing one year, it rolls over into the
Yep.
next year. So a lot of people, when they say open a TFSA, the name of that account is so misleading.
Yeah.
Tax-free savings account. Everyone's like, okay, I'm going to open a savings account. Awesome. And the bank's like, sure, do it. And they give you like 1% on your money. And you're like, okay, well,
what is this?
well, yeah, I put in $100, I make $1 a year. Like, and when people see that, that's what discourages them. Because they're like, well, I put in $100 a month, I'm making $1 a year. This isn't like, what's the point? I'm going to go enjoy it. Right. But what we don't teach properly is that a tax-free savings account can actually be an investment account. And that's where you actually make money in the long term. So you can actually open a TFSA with any financial institution, credit union, private company like Equestrade or Wealthsimple, something like that. You can open a TFSA and you can deposit money and you can actually invest it on your own. And a lot of people fall into the trap of either opening a savings account with a bank and then just putting money in there and going, I'm earning my 1%. And I think I have a TFSA and I think it's going okay. And then the other trap that people fall into is they say, oh, awesome, I opened a TFSA with like an investment account, and they just contribute money and they just leave it there as cash and they don't invest it. And I think I see more people doing that than opening just a regular savings account as a tax-free savings account. So when you open a TFSA, you really need to think about investing that money. If you leave it as cash, it's not doing anything better than sitting in your regular savings account doing nothing.
It's true. Yeah, and then like even like diving more detailed into it, like Mo can speak on a little bit more too. Like when it comes to like, as you spoke to, it's like, okay, once you put that money in, like delegate to something, whether you want to go into bonds or whether it's mutual funds or whatever it is, or a certain product you do believe in, do research and follow up on how that's doing over a period of time. Let's say you invested in a whole year, like, okay, I'm going to come back in a year, see how that goes. Because there's that saying, but like, put it in and don't look back. Like you hear, they're like, don't look, just put it in and then don't look. But then you have some sort of understanding, like, okay, if I'm putting my money in, I got to have little bit of understanding of how it's working, whether it's progressing, whether it's not progressing, or how my whatever the fund I put it in, whether it's actually doing well or not, right? And then what are some funds that you've seen out there? Like I know like a lot of people go into like Woo and stuff like that, or whether it's just like an ASP, like whatever it is, like people just put it in, and then those one over a period of time, they have given the most substantial amount of return on your money, like close to like 8% and whatnot, right? Over a period of time, that's like the most thing that everybody wants to put their money into, right? So what are some like tips and tricks in regards to whether you consider like mutual funds or bonds, or how do you mitigate that risk in different segments you want to put your money into? Like, what would you say those things are?
Yeah. So first I'll say I'm not licensed to give advice, financial advice.
None of us are financial advisors.
Yeah.
We just speak on what we have seen work.
Totally. So I just want to explain like kind of the difference between like the different types of investments. So like there's the fixed income. So something like a bond where you contribute or buy a bond and it says, okay, we're going to give you 3% on your money. And that's like pretty much guaranteed. Yeah. And that's a very safe play, right? So usually when people are a little bit more closer to retirement, they ask me, how do I shift my portfolio? I always tell them, well, investing in the stock market might be a little bit risky if you're depending on taking that money out in the next, like say 3 to 5 years. Because look at what's happened in the last 1 to 2 years with the markets, right? It's been wild. So fixed income might be somebody who wants a little bit more stability. Right. And if you're thinking about, okay, well, I want more long-term growth, like that 8-9% you're talking about, then you might want to think about something like an index fund. Index fund is where you can diversify, right? Like don't have all your eggs in one basket kind of thing, where you can buy one unit or one stock of an index fund, and it actually contains like hundreds of stocks. Right. So you mentioned S&P 500. Great. Like you can buy an index fund that tracks the S&P 500. So even though you might say, well, Nelson, I don't have enough money to buy one share of Tesla, one share of NVIDIA, one share of Apple, whatever, because it's a lot of money. Well, that's great. You can buy this index fund now for a fraction of the cost, but it holds a fraction of each of those shares in those companies. Right. And it's a great way to lower your risk, but have that long-term like value return over time.
Exactly. And that's the one thing I feel like people don't understand is like that compounding interest, like it accumulates so much. Like now, like obviously like everybody has a time where you can put your money in, as you said, like, with your TFSA, like it rolls over. Like even for us, like our contributions is up to 90 1,000 now. Like imagine if we started earlier on and had the compounding interest started at an early age. But again, like, everybody has a timeline. It's a growing period of understanding what the money is. So I always tell people, I'm like, listen, if you have money, like expenses out, like, because there's that one saying like 50, 30, 20 rule where like you take 50% of the money that you have. I believe that's the one that you put away just for your saving, and 30 is like your expenditure and whatnot. Or is it the other way around? I forgot what it was. I don't know if you guys heard
50. It's like 50 for expenses.
Have you heard about this now?
Like that.
I don't know
It's
if
like somewhat of a ratio.
Maybe you can elaborate more, but I forgot what it was.
For sure. So that's like a pretty simple budgeting method.
Yeah.
I actually teach that to a lot of like high school students because it's simple and easy. Because when people think about budgeting, they get, everybody puts on their spreadsheet brain and they're like, oh, I got to do all these line items and stuff, and it's so complex.
Keep it simple.
And I'm like, just keep it simple, right? Like 50, 20, 30. Like 50% goes of your income goes, like, this is your after-tax income that goes in your bank account. 50% of that goes to your needs. So like basic needs, food, water, shelter, whatever. And then 20% goes to savings. And then 30% goes to wants, like fun things. And those ratios actually can be moved around, right?
It can be,
If you need like a 60-20-20, because maybe your housing costs are a little bit more. Like if you live in Vancouver, it might be a 60-20-20. But if you live at home, you might have a 20-20-60 where you can save 60%. Right? So really use that model to like shift your percentages based on what you need and your lifestyle.
But with, so just like in regards to what we were talking about, just about expenses itself, right? Personal expenses. There's the aspect of where some people just something basic like, okay, if you're making, I don't know, let's just throw a number like $3,000 a month, right? And your expenditures and everything is like $4,000 or $5,000. So then, like, what people are kind of like in a sense is like enjoying the moment. So they're like, hey, you know what? These expenses are gonna happen. I can figure it out later on. But then it just hits them real hard when responses build up and stuff like that. So like, there's an aspect of just like, what do you need to sacrifice in that sense? What's really important in your life? And just like, even just like for example, like housing cost, right? So like, for example, housing cost here is just ridiculous, just how it is. And it's just trying to like minimize that's very complicated in itself. So then what would you recommend in a sense is like when you have a client, like how do you go over the expenses with them? Like, hey, this is a necessity. This is a want. Of course, at the end of the day, it's their choice and the choices they want to make. But how do you go about it when directing a client?
That's a great question. Money is very emotional. It is. All right. And it's very psychological too. It's a lot of like mindset and how you think about it. So I don't like to use the word, what are we sacrificing? I use the words, what are we investing in? Right. Because you might be thinking like, well, I'm going to go buy a pair of shoes. I'm like, well, you're investing that money into something that might not have any value when you scuff them up and in 3 years you chuck them in the garbage, right? Do you need to spend $500 on this pair of like kicks or whatever Jordans cost? I don't even know. I don't even own Jordans, right?
Same here. or cost too damn much.
Exactly, right? So like, where are you investing your money? So when it comes to like something like housing costs, which is a big thing here in the Lower Mainland, whenever I talk to clients and I talk to people and they tell me, well, I want to buy, this is my baseline criteria. I must have all these things. And we look at the housing cost and it's $4,000, but their income is $3,000. I'm like, hey, well, now we need to think about what do we cut out and what do we want to fully pour our investment into? Like, do you need, 5 bedrooms or do you need a 2-car garage? Can you live with a 1-car garage and a street parking? Right? Can you live with maybe a 3-bedroom and then maybe you go to an office to work instead of working from home? Or how do we create a co-working space or something like that, right? Like, how do we create these different ways to stretch our dollar? I think that's kind of what you're getting at. So we don't spend more than we earn.
More than we need, And then just like how you're just mentioning about just housing in itself, this is another aspect of just real estate. Like, especially being an immigrant family, you're kind of pushed to like start life at a very early age, right? So you get married, buy a house, this and that and all that stuff. But like the reality is just like what people don't recognize is like, okay, you can get a house, you can put down the down payment, but what they don't understand is the maintenance cost for it. You got the insurance, you got the taxes, you got this and that. And it's just like all that stuff adds up, but people don't really have a perception of just like thinking that in advance and planning for it. So then in a sense, like, is it really worth buying a house then? Is it better off to just rent one and just at least kind of be able to afford it? And then when you do have a financial plan, then maybe look at getting a house? Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, because now, sorry to cut you off, but like now there's like this thing, everybody's like, no, renting a house, like buying a house is foolishness. Like you see these videos all the time now, right?
Yeah.
And there is some truth to it depending where you are in your lifestyle. But I like a lot of people not promote this, like, no, just rent a house. Because you'll see these people like, I make millions, but I rent a house. Like I'm living out in an apartment. Right, there is a lot of misconception out there for people like not understanding the value of, because like for example, our parents bought a house way back when, right? Obviously, it's been like 20 plus years to accumulate the wealth that they have for the house. Right? They might bought it at like 200,000, and now it's 600,000, 700,000. Obviously, it takes time, but yeah, like in regards to what he's saying, like renting or living, I think it just varies where you are in your life. I think.
100%. I agree. We're opening a big can of worms here.
Yeah.
The rent versus buy question, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people out there who preach, you know what, I rent like downtown Vancouver and I invest the rest because then I don't have to deal with the phantom costs, like the maintenance and the upkeep and strata fees, HOA fees, whatever, like you have to deal with, right? Property taxes.
Yeah.
But then there's some people who think of it differently. They're like, this is going to be my home that I'm going to keep for generations to come.
Exactly.
Right. And I think for me personally, the biggest thing about renting is that at any point in time, your landlord could kick you out.
True.
Yeah.
And if you're, I know they have to give you like the notice based on the tenancy acts and stuff, but still, right? Within 6 months, you could be out of a home.
House, yeah.
So that is, to me, is a bigger risk that, you know, somebody who's renting is going to be taking. And if you don't have maybe a partner, or if you're just on your own, or you don't have a family, it might be easy to just pack up and go.
True.
Yeah.
But when you get to it, like what you said, Amrit, about different stage in your life, you might want a little bit more stability.
Yeah.
And that might come with a little bit extra cost.
Yeah.
But how does that extra cost help you sleep at night, right? Like have that stability knowing that, hey, I own my own home, not as an ego thing, but more as like at least I know that I won't get kicked out of my house in 6 months.
So what would you say in a sense of like, the sense of appreciation, in a sense of like, okay, let's say if you're renting, but then you use your money to invest in, let's say, the stock market, or I don't know, I'm just throwing this stuff out, stock market, crypto, whatever it is.
Sure.
Right. And then, so what would you say the comparison in regards to like, okay, if I invest in stock market, I'll just rent for now, versus where I'll get this house, the house will appreciate, of course. Like, where would you see, what would you recommend in that sense? Like, what you should do in that sense?
I think people who are trying to build wealth, just get in the market, some sort of market.
Okay.
Right? If you're going to rent and then you're going to, you know, invest in the stock market in your TFSA RSP in an index fund or something like that, earn your 7 to 10% every year, reinvest your dividends, you're still in the market. You're still building wealth.
Yeah.
If you're going to go the real estate play and maybe have a little bit less of like less invested because your money's now poured into this massive investment into a home, that's okay too, right? Just be in the market. I think where people miss out the most is they either like they just rent and then they just go and I think Drake said it, you YOLO, you only live once, and they just YOLO their money away, right? And that's where people fall into that trap where they're always going to be chasing.
And that's what the scary part now it is too, like, as you spoke to, kind of, it actually makes sense. Like, when it comes to money, people are really emotional with it. And now with social media, like, I know so many people that, like, everybody has this perception of how to make money really quick. And I think it's such a bad way to go about it, because there's so many people, like, okay, like, you know, the reason why I bring this example is because there's so many of the youngins that want to do it. Traders, stock day traders, okay? Perfect example. I'm like, so I sat down with one person. I'm like, realistically speaking, I'm like, if this could be replicated that easy, I'm like, don't you think everybody would do it? It could be applied to any field, right? It could be applied to any field. I'm like, there is a called beginner's luck, or you can get lucky at a certain time, be like, oh, wow, look, I made 20,000 this one day. But then what about the second day, the third day, a week after, a month after, right? I'm like, this is something that it looks nice on paper, on a reel when you watch it, but when you're actually in it, it's not all that what you think it is, right? So it's like chasing that that instant gratification for something you do during that time. Like, oh, wow, I made this much money. But people don't realize, like, it's okay to accumulate your wealth for 15, 10 years, 20 years, and work yourself from there. Because, like, in my early age, like, from my 20s to, like, in my 30s now, like, I built myself to a point where, like, I can finally build my first property when I want to flip. I saved enough money where, like, you know what, my down payment for the house, like, whatever, my lot itself, like, if I don't have that cash on hand to pay for that lot, why would I even buy it? Sure, there's other ways to utilize, like, loans and whatnot, construction mortgage and whatnot, but for me, it was more so, like, I don't want to pay that monthly interest on that, but if I have $200,000-300,000 in my bank, I can buy that lot, and then obviously with the contractors, that's different. You can utilize the construction loans then. But for me, one thing my cousin told me, he's like, if you have cash, he's like, utilize that. He's like, then you can leverage the bank for what you have bought and use it for something else. But in the meantime, if you have cash, build your cash. And that's the one thing that my dad, kind of engraved in me. He's like, I mean, like, it's a long journey. There's no timeline. Oh, 22, you got to be X amount of money. Or 23, you got to have X amount of money. But have a goal. Have a goal by 30. Okay, what do you want to do next, right? So that's what I'm kind of grateful for is, having the understanding with my dad where, yeah, he made too much out of the money, but like, okay, save. But now I'm able to be like, take that concept of him saving, but like, Dad, this is what we should next. And now when you bring that together, you can actually succeed together.
Totally.
Right? So,
yeah. And I think that nobody, when you go back to that trading example of like, hey, I made 20K today, nobody ever talks about how much they lost.
Nobody. Yeah.
Nobody's going to go on a reel and say, oh man, for the last 6 months, I lost 50K, but today I made 20.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm a net negative 30.
Negative.
Net negative or net positive, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that's like longevity. And when we talk about like financial literacy and building wealth, it's really a long game thing. So whether you're in stocks, in the stock market, in real estate, or doing other types of investments, building a business, it's all long game, right? Like overnight success is a 10-year game.
Yep.
Right? And people think like, oh, I saw this reel or I saw this entrepreneur, they sold their company overnight. No, they didn't. It wasn't overnight. They spent the last 10 years working out of the garage, right? You didn't see that.
Yeah. And it's so hard for people to stray away from the idea of that quick money because like people want, again, it's like now we're in this rut where people feel like their current state of life or the money that they're making is not good enough. It's like nothing is good enough to make them satisfied. And it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, I don't get it. I'm like, back in the days, like when we worked, like the minimum wage was like $8. I'm like, that's what we worked on. I was
you
like,
got 8?
Yeah, because
I got like 6.
Exactly. So like back in the day, like think about $6, and obviously we're different. But like think about that. Like for us, it wasn't like, oh my God, like I'm only getting $6 an hour, $8 an hour. It wasn't that. We're like, we know what we had to do to kind of like pay off our college, and because it's going to come a point where I'm going to pay $10,000, but it was just, as you spoke to, is just accumulating money over a period of time. It's not going to come within 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, 4 years. You're going to fail, and you're going to fail again, and you're going to fail again. But it's not letting that deter you from staying on task with that. Unless like you have a failing business, that's different. But a lot of people think like, okay, just because I hit this obstacle, I got to try something else. Oh, I saw this reel, like this person made this money off this. Or I want to start renovation. I want to start a rental company. I want to start day trading. I want to start like, just doing the extravagant things. That makes no sense. So when you do these part-time things, I would say, and nothing full-time, it will never lead to any type of wealth at all. And I tell these people, I'm like, fully focus on one thing and do it for a long period of time where you can say like, okay, you know what? I tried this for 6-7 years. It's not working at all. And then you can stray away to a different outlet or different business or whatever it is, a corporate job, whatever it is, and plan everything. Because like, as you've spoken to this, so you were working a corporate job, right? So this is when I'm in corporate. A lot of people now be like, no, just quit and just start your job. Start your business. So I quit your job and start a business. But like people don't realize if I quit my job, there's no any type of income that's supporting you. So how do you actually going to support the business that you want to quote unquote want to succeed, but how are you supporting that? So speak on that from your side. How did you feel like that transition from having that safe option of a job and compared to like a business where it's ups and downs, right? How did you mitigate that risk of like, okay, I can't just shift and just quit my job and start my own business? How did you go about that?
I had a mentor once tell me, he said, Nelson, when you focus on everything, you end up with nothing. And that will stick with me forever, right? So when we think about all these distractions, I want 1 minute I'm going to be a day trader. I'm going to go take this course on how to be a day trader. And the next minute I'm going to do Amazon dropshipping. And then the next minute I'm going to do the Burr method and buy a house and flip it. Like when you focus on everything, you get nothing. So for me, it was a long grind. Like I wasn't able to go from corporate, quit tomorrow and then be an entrepreneur and start my own business. I actually had to do them in tandem. So I was working like a full-time job while building my business, like at lunchtime, early in the morning, late at night. And I was getting it legs, right? I wanted it to grow and start something, right? Just get my first sale, get my first client, right? And then it came to a point in time where I'm like, you know what, I'm ready. And it was actually during COVID when I was like, we were isolated at home. I was just bored.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, what can I do? Like, I can sit here and like play video games and watch TV, or I can try to better myself. So that's actually when I went and did my real estate license, because I was personally interested in it. I was like, oh, real estate's always been on my mind. And I help a lot of friends who are realtors refer business, do deals. And one of my friends came up to me. He's like, Nelson, just go get your license. Like, your business is just going to come.
Yeah.
Right. So during COVID, I was like, okay, I'm just going to study. So this was like studying for the course, working a full-time job, and trying to build my consulting business, right? It was 12-hour days, very, very often. And not a lot of people saw that, except for my partner. Like, she saw me waking up at like 5 a.m. to study for 2 hours, and then make breakfast, go to the gym, go for a run, work the 9 to 5, come home and do it, like build the business at night, and then do it all over again, right? So it was a long, long grind for me, but I was able to endure through that. Not a lot of people can, right? So it's if you're trying to start your own business, if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, you really need to think about, what are my limits, like my physical limits of like, what can I actually do? How much can I tolerate? Maybe you go into like a part-time job, decrease your hours, and then build your thing on the side. Or audit your time. Like, what are you doing on the weekends? Right? If you're just wasting time, if you're scrolling through social media, looking about how other people's life is so much better than yours, well, use that time to build your own.
I mean, you're watching people succeed rather than doing yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what literally doom scrolling is. It's like, and thing is, like, we all get motivated in the sense like, oh wow, like I feel motivated. Like, I'm gonna do this tomorrow. When the tomorrow arrives, it's the same thing. Now you're looking for a different person to get that motivation from, but it never occurs. And what you've spoken to, Nelson, is kind of like, a lot of people don't understand it. Having to struggle in a sense where, like, doing what you like, there's fun things you want to, there's things, but like, man, I want to do that, but I can't. And saying no to things you're not supposed to is such a, like, that devil on your shoulder always sits there. It's such an easy way to just like fall into that trap and just do those things that you're not supposed to. But I don't people realize how the embedment for your life to ignore the devil on your side, but put in that work like yourself and other entrepreneurs. Like, those 12 hours days, we're going to sleep for 2-3 hours. That's going to happen. But nowadays, like, we don't want to do that. And I tell this to even younger or even older audience. I'm like, you're going to have to sacrifice something at some point in life. I'm like, you can only blame so many factors, so many people around you for so long until you change your own environment, because that's what it comes down to, your environment. And, kind of relating it back to your book, like with your partners, what led you to making your book was surrounding yourself with people that inspired you to do something more, right? And speak on that as well. Like, how key was your environment to leading to where you are today?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. So I come from an immigrant family, right? Like, we started with nothing. Like, I started with nothing. Like, I had student loans going through university. I didn't have anything like paid for. And it's not a knock to my family, but it's just more of like, I had to take it on myself, right? And I'm sure you guys probably have similar situations related to different parts of your life. So it's just owning that responsibility, right? And along the way, because I had to own that responsibility, I got to learn different skill sets, like how to get your first job, how to get promoted, how to manage your money. Like, if I don't pay rent, what happens, right? And I got to learn that the hard way. Like, if you don't pay rent, your landlord's knocking on your door, turning your power off, that kind of stuff. So it's like, you learn these life skills along the way, but what I'm really grateful for and blessed to have is mentors. So I was able to, at an early age, seek out people who I was like, hey, listen, like, you're doing something really cool. Like, you're a CPA and I want to be a CPA one day. Like, could I sit with you for coffee and like buy you coffee and ask you some questions? And could you maybe guide me on, like, tell me what I'm doing right? Tell me what I'm doing wrong. How can you, shine the light for me? Because I didn't have that background, right? So having those valuable mentors in my life really helped me elevate to that next level. And I'm continuing to find mentors at every, I call it evolution of my life. I have different mentors, right? Not that some are better or some are worse. It's just different goals. And the purpose of life literacy is I've accumulated a lot of the tips and the tricks that my mentors have given me that help change my life. And I want to share that with other people now. So through life literacy, we share personal, professional, and financial literacy. So whether it's like a new grad trying to get a job, we share what the perspective is like from an employer and from an employee. Right. So what to expect? How do you get a promotion? What sort of mindset should you have? And then when you get your first paycheck, what do you do with it? 50, 20, 30 budget, pay yourself first, like all these types of things. And eventually, like with my next book, I want to talk more about these mentor life tips that help change my life. Because my purpose is not only to help people be financially literate, but my purpose is to help other people be better.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna mention in a sense of like kind of relating to how you're just, the corporate life and then now the entrepreneurship, you have, your own business and stuff. Like kind of just digging more deep into that. I think there's an aspect of where just like people people just want to enjoy the moment so that, they go out with their friends, go to restaurants, all that stuff. So they don't really look an aspect of just, investing into that, investing into the future in a sense. Stocks, learning new skill sets. But the thing well enough, and we have a bunch of friends and we know ourselves as well enough, is just like, well, I mean, in order to build a business, you have to build new skill sets. In order to build new skill sets, you need to learn, and that comes with a cost. You have to pay a price for it in order to learn something new. So then if you're expending all this money in towards experiences, then what do you really have left to really learn? And a lot of people are not willing to sacrifice that, right? They really hate being alone and just being in the apartment, learning, being on the computer, learning, reading a book, just being able to adapt and really just invest more, to learn more, to earn more. So then in that sense, like we were also talking about escapism, right? We were having a chat with our buddy. They want to escape life, just enjoy life and stuff like that. But when it comes back to reality, they're still in the same spot. So then what do you go with, going about with that? Then it's just like,
usually come back in a worse space because now the credit card is up to 5,000, 6,000, and now they're paying 20% on the credit card interest. Now you're chasing like the emptiness, like it's insane.
So then it's just like, how do you make people realize like, hey, look, like, of course there's an extent where like client, like, I mean, you can really do as much as the most you can do is provide advice and the rest is up to them to decide. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to face that reality. Like, shit, like a $5,000 bill, I'm making this much. How the hell am I going to afford this? Then they're getting into bad debt. And it's just like, at the end of the day, like, how do you really get to the point of like that line and be like, hey, look, like you need to really like look at this. Like you're facing a reality here. Like you're going to have to make sacrifices. So how do you go with like having that conversation then?
It's a really hard one. It's a really, really hard one.
Yeah.
Giving people like the gut check, right?
Yeah.
Like even if it's not money related, even just telling a friend who, maybe they're struggling with something and you're just trying to help them out of it.
Yeah.
That's hard. Now add money, which is like emotional on top of that.
Yeah.
Like, no, Amrit, no, Mook, this is my money. I'm going to do whatever I want with it. Don't tell me what to do, right?
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people will say.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but if you're going to go out and spend $1,000 a month eating out with your friends and having these amazing experiences and times, don't get me wrong. Like I love nice experiences. Like my partner and I, we travel a lot. Like we love to experience life, but we have a budget. Like we know where our money's going and we know, okay, this is how much we're going to spend for this trip or this year for travel. And this is how much we need to allocate aside for like the things that we need, like our home, our car insurance, our phone bills, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. But it's the people who just blindly go about it and say, oh, my bank account has 7,000, so I'm good. Like my credit card's 5, I'm okay. You're not okay because what happens when you get a flat tire? Yeah. What happens when, you get laid off?
Yeah.
And you can't find a job for 6 months and you got costs to pay. Right. So I think the conversation with people is just more of like the reality check of, listen, you've got a job that pays you $60,000 a year, which is fine, but your credit card bill is like $5,000, which is pretty much your monthly salary after taxes.
Yeah.
You also have housing costs on top of that. How are you going to catch up and make this credit card balance zero if you're continuously chasing?
And one thing, I think this is maybe more so in the South Asian community. One thing I've seen a lot is like a lot of the kids that are growing up in a household where they're babied in a sense, where like they were never I guess taught what expenditures come in a household and this, that. Because I come across so many people in the 30s, they're like, oh, like, there's this bill to be paid, there's this bill to be paid. And then they take the onus, be like, no, they blame their parents. But like, my dad never taught me this. Yeah. He never taught me about this. I'm like, but you're a grown person that should make decisions for themselves, that should ask questions, because you're getting to an age where, like, you need to understand that, right? Because, like, like, in our communities, some kids tend to be spoiled. We're like, yo, don't worry about it. Like that's our son. Like, so in our community, they'll be like, oh, don't worry. Like, mera pata. That's what they say. It's my son. Don't worry about it. Like, you don't have to worry about nothing. Don't worry. Just enjoy life, right? But then when reality comes fast at them, they have no idea how to even decipher. And then they'll play that victim mentality where, like, my parents never taught me this. But I'm like, you have abundance amount of resources all around you to learn. it's not their responsibility to hold your hand until you're 20, 30, 40. It's for your responsibility to go out there. Even if you have questions, ask your dad. You're like, hey, what expenses do you have? Can I help out in any way, even if it's small ways? Have the onus upon yourself to have these conversations with your parents. Because sometimes they're not going to because they want to take care of you. That's their protective side. That's just how our parents are raised. That's how they've been. You know, even like I had this conversation with my sister. I'm like, you know, you're married now. You got to start having this, you know, the financial side of you, like where start investing money with your husband and all that, right? But again, it's like when you're never taught, you don't know. But then a lot of people use that as like an escape of like, well, I was never taught, so, you know, I blame my parents.
Yeah. They feel like it's not their responsibility. But at the end of the day, like who's paying your bills, who's saving for your retirement? You got to take ownership and accountability of it.
Yep. And that's what we lack a lot of the time too, you know. Like I have a Papa John's, right, in Edmonton is one of my businesses. So there's a couple of young kids that came, and I just recently hired them. And I told him one thing, and then he's like, you know, I'm like, you give me as many hours as you can. I'm like, why would I just give you so many hours right off the bat? I'm like, you haven't earned it, right? I'm like, my first job ever was at Subway when I was 15. I'm like, you know, at first, like, for me, it was just a regular job. But then more I started working. I'm like, you know what? I'm be the best worker that's here. And you know, as crazy as it is, and it was like a proud sense of moment. And when I became like a really good worker, because my manager started acknowledging and whatnot, I'm like, and then she started asking me to work more and everything. And I told her, I'm like, listen, that experience alone from like working there at Subway for 4 or 5 years, it kind of paved path for the rest of my life. It realized like what responsibility meant and giving my all, even if it was like, we would call sandwich artists, because that's what it's technically called as sandwich artists, right? So like for me, I'm like, you know what, I'm be the best at what I do, whether it's cleaning, making a sandwich. I'm like, you know what, that paved my way to lead me to where I am today. And I told him, I'm like, listen, I'm like, nowadays a little bit different. I'm like, man, if you showcase, like if you work your ass off now, I'm like, I'm telling you, everything in life is going to become seamlessly easy, because a lot of the people are like, well, I'm only going to work this much because that's how much they pay me. Why would I do more? I'm like, you have to do more, because that's the characteristic you need to succeed in life. Because you hear that a lot too, probably, Nasser, right? Like, well, I don't want to work. Man, they only pay me like, I don't know, like $40,000 a year, and they ask me to do all this shit. Like, I don't want to do that. You probably hear this a lot.
I work 9 to 5. That's it, 9 to 5. Don't ask me 8:59. Don't tell me 5:01. I'm out.
Yeah.
In fact, on Fridays I'm out at 4:45. Right, and how you do anything is how you do everything. Right. So I love that. I love that story of like, you know, as a sandwich artist, I'm going to be the best artist. I'm going to be the Michelangelo of Subway. Right. And similar mindset. Like my first job, I was selling advertising, like in paper and online for like cars, commercial trucks, that kind of stuff. And this was like outside of my university school schedule, which was already hectic on its own. Yeah. Right. I would like transit, you know, 45 minutes to get to work. And this was like, I would work like the night shift pretty much, or on weekends. And our job was to sell ads, and we were paid like minimum wage plus commission. So every ad you were able to sell, you got a little cut of that, right? So one day I was sitting at work and I'm like, how do I increase my compensation here? Because I'm just sitting here making whatever, $12-15 an hour. And I'm just waiting for calls to come in, and then I'm trying to sell them. So then one day I had this like epiphany. I was like, you know what? These ads, they run for a specific amount of time. And once the ads expire, like who's following up on them? So I like, I would go into the office and I would dig through the garbage, and I would find old magazines with the ads, because we would just chuck them out, right? We would recycle them. So I would dig through them, and I would find ones that were like 2-3 months old, and I would stash them in my desk. And then I would go through them. Like when it's quiet at night, I would go through them and I would call these expired ads. I would look them up on the computer and see, hey, did these guys renew? They were selling like commercial trucks, like construction dump trucks, bulldozers, that kind of stuff, expensive stuff. And I would call them up. I'd be like, hey, like, do you still want to advertise your vehicle? And they're like, oh, shoot, it expired. Hell yeah, run it again. And all of a sudden my sales just like skyrocketed, and I was like leading the team even though I was working part-time. So it's like similar mindset to you. It's like, to both of you, is like, I don't care what I'm doing, I'm going to be the best at it. Even if I'm making French fries at McDonald's, I'm going to be the best French fry maker, because that trait runs with you for the rest of your life.
It does. I don't people realize like that understanding at an early age will stick with you for the rest of your life. And personally, like, you know, I believe there's nothing that can't be achieved as long as you put your mind to it. You know, like I'm a firm believer in that. I'm like, no matter what it is, as long as you stay firm to your, you know, your morals and values and principles, and you don't stray away from them, there's nothing that you can't accomplish as long as your work ethic, is there with it. You know, and it's a testament to your career as well, as you have progressed through different various, as you said, the evolution of your life. And that's due to like the characteristics that you have, the morals and the principle that you abide by, that, you know what, there's certain things I'm going to hold by myself because I owe it to myself. Because everybody at the end of the day, they want a good life. Mm-hmm. Like if anybody says otherwise, they're just lying to themselves, right? Everybody wants a good life. That's just what we want. And for yourself, like, where was that mind shift, or like even the mindset, even with like having a partner with yourself, where was that shift in your head? Be like, you know what, I want more for myself. I want something more than just whatever I have going on right now.
Like I'll add to Amr as well, like especially at an early time, like if you're just going through those advertisements, what Amr said was like, where was that mind shift in a sense of like, hey, was it a sense of fear, like, hey, like, because living in an immigrant household, that it's on me now to make sure I do good with myself so I can take care of my family, that, hey, like, I don't need to go out party and do all this stuff. Rather, I spend the time and have that curiosity, like, hey, like, I need to figure this out in a sense, like, hey, like, how do I make more money in that sense? Yeah. Like scraping out those advertisements of the garbage, like being curious, like, hey, like, okay, these advertisements are expired. Like, what should I do about it now? Maybe this is an opportunity where I can make more money so I can put, more money in my bank account and I can reinvest that, so on and so forth. Like, where was that curiosity and just like that switch, like what I'm saying?
Yeah. So the different evolutions I talked about, right? So back in that evolution of my life as a young teenager, young adult, my mindset wasn't on building wealth or how do I take care of my family or anything like that. It was like, how do I buy like the next car part, or like, how do I upgrade my car, or like whatever, right? But I think in the back of my mind, I always knew I had bills to pay. Like, I have tuition coming up next semester. How am I going to cover that? How can I make more so I can, cover that plus do all these things that I want? Yeah. And then as I built my corporate career as a CPA, I started to realize like, okay, well, I'm making good money now and I'm just seeing my bank account go up and up and up, but like, what am I doing with it? Yeah. And then the evolution that I'm in now is a wealth evolution. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, how do we build wealth? And wealth doesn't mean being rich. Like, there's a big difference. Yep. And I think a lot of people understand what rich is because they see it on TikTok and Instagram. Like, I have, this house, this car, this whatever. Mm-hmm. But then wealthy is like quiet. Mindset. It's a mindset. Yeah. And you have that before you even become rich. Yep. Rich, yeah. Right? And you have that forever.
Yeah. And you know what the one misconception about like attaining even like wealth or even money period is now I see a lot of days is what age you get it at. This is such a misconception. Like, I'm like, there's no set timeline when you're going to succeed or what time of your life. Because now it's like that notion of by like 30, 40, you should be successful. Like, you're not even 30, 40 anymore. Now it's like 25, 30, you need to have X amount of money. You need to be succeed. Like, life is passing you by. I'm like, life just begun. What do you mean life is passing? I just graduated. What do you mean life? I'm 24, life is passing me by. Now you're freaking out. Like, I got to make money. Life is passing me by. Because some guy, you're a tool bag on freaking social media told me, well, life is passing by. You probably see this a lot as well, is where people have this notion of like, there's an age you got to be successful by. How do people overcome that? Because, like, it's not easy. Like, now you're sitting in this rut, but, like, man, I'm 35. I ain't got shit going for me. Like I got no money to my account. I got nothing going for me business-wise or even work-wise. Everybody hates me. It happens, man. Because, like, in 35, 40, or people call it midlife crisis, but that's just how life works. Life's going to beat you down at a certain point. It's just how you look at it. Because we have that misconception now where age is associated with, where how much money you should have, status. At what point, status and all that. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. When people ask me that, I tell them, stop counting other people's money. Stop counting other people's money. Yeah. Who cares? Like, who cares if I have $1 million in my bank account? What does that mean to you? Yeah. Just because I have $1 million doesn't mean you get 10% of it. Focus on your own stuff. Yeah. Right? Stay in your own lane. Like, live within your means. Yeah. Right? So just because I have friends who have Lamborghinis and like supercars, Porsche, everything, doesn't mean that just because they have it, I get one too. It's not a buy one, get one free. Right? Like,
hey, yo, where's mine?
Where's mine? Yeah, in blue, please. Right? Like, if my friends get nice things, I'm happy for them. Yeah. Because I know that it just didn't come out of nowhere. Like, they worked hard for it. And then maybe mom and dad gave it to them, but that's fine because mom and dad probably worked hard for it too. So respect that. Yeah. Respect that grind, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. The worst thing that people can do when it comes to wealth and money is compare themselves to others and then say, well, of course Amrit has that because his dad gave it to him. Or of course Mook has that. Like he was just gifted it. It doesn't matter. No, it matters. Right? If you can switch that mindset and be happy for other people when they succeed, when they have nice things, then the universe just blesses you with your own.
Yeah. And it's just what we were mentioning with, I just remembered right now, is the type of struggle as well. So like, let's say for us, like started from zero, to grind our ass off, trying to like make more money and stuff like that. But the aspect of like some people like don't really think about as well is the ones that already come with everything. The parents that have built those businesses, they're making millions of dollars, and those children that are born in those households. And I kind of got just kind of curious in a sense, like, okay, what exactly is their struggle, right? They've been given everything that, whatever they want to ask for their parents is they give it to them. But at the same time, the type of struggle for them is living up to that expectation. Yeah. Right. So like, I'm pretty sure you probably dealt with, clients within different aspects of life. Like, they've been given everything or just like, they had to grind their ass off just trying to even just make like $1,000 a month just on their own. Like, how do you go with that with the direction in the sense like, and just if you do have, of course we won't name any clients and stuff, but like tend to like the type of examples, right? Or the experience like dealing with both sides of the aspects. Like, how do you go about with that?
Yeah, I see that there's multiple facets to that. So for some people like us who are like self-made, like we were fortunate enough to be in Canada and have opportunities, but like every dollar we earn, we're grinding for it. All the wealth we're building, we've built from ground up, right? These kind of people, if you go through that struggle, you become the most resilient type of people that will make it in any environment. The people who, like, I know a lot of trust fund babies, right? Like parents who have wealth and just pass it on, or parents who have businesses, like very successful. Like I have a friend who has, his parents have like factories in Asia and they're like, they're just rolling in it. Right. But there's that expectation. Okay, Nelson, when you grow up, you're going to take over the business making, I don't know, like water bottles. Like, I don't even like water bottle. I don't want to make that. Right? I want to go and like sell houses. No, you can't. You have to go and do this. So there's that like expectation and there's that feeling of like, I have to do this because that's what was given to me. But also at the same time, like the people who are more like trust fund babies that have like just money and wealth handed to them, they, I think, are the most lost. Because you put them in a room in the middle of nowhere with nothing, they don't know what to do.
I mean, envy is like the one thing that kills people. The thing is, as you've spoken to, like people that have a lot of money, but thing is, like, let's say their parents giving them everything, right? For them, it's just as hard to live up to the expectation, understanding like, okay, what's my first step? A lot of people have taken their family business and have taken to the next level. I know so many people that I have met. I was that one person when I was young. I'm like, man, that kid got everything given to me and had to work for it. I had that misconception of judging people. We all do. We come to an amends with ourselves. We're like, no, that's wrong. I'm like, you shouldn't do that. I can proudly admit where I'm wrong, and I was wrong for that. But now I see there's so many people that are coming up. I'm like, you know what? This person took his dad's business and took it to the next level. Commend him for that. Give them their flowers for it. And what you spoke beautifully about is like, be happy for the people around you. Like, why hate on someone because they're successful? I had this conversation with one of my friends, and she's like, man, like my boss is like a tool head, and I sat there, right? He's like, and she's like, I would do a better job at running this business, right? But I'm like, guess what? They're the one who got the business, and you're the one that's working for them. I mean, there's a reason why. I mean, you're worried about how they take care of themselves or how they run their business, rather than you taking this time, be like, you know what? They put in this work to own this business. There's a reason why the way the ladder is, you're the employee and they're the boss. There's a reason why. And a lot of people don't understand that until like probably later on. So some people never understand that understanding. We're like, there's a reason why they're in the position you're in. There's a reason why you're in the position that you're in. And which is okay as well. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but understand what that means. A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah. And people who, if you're in a situation right now and you don't like where you're in, you're not a tree. Like you're not stuck in the ground. You can move.
You can move.
Yeah. Take action, right? Exactly. Be intentional about it and then shift to whatever you need to do to get where you want to be.
Yeah. I hate when people say that. I'd be like, man, like, I'm stuck in this job. Says who? Yeah. We have abundance amount of opportunities. If you put in the work, you put it out there, why wouldn't anybody want a good employee? Or why wouldn't anybody want to work with you as a business if you have that work ethic and you show the characteristic that, hey, I can succeed with this person? What person is going to say no? Like if now since it's this person, I'm like, wow, he's done a lot in his life and he's succeeding. Why wouldn't I want to partner up with this if opportunity presented? It'd be dumb of me to say no, right? So a lot of people don't realize that until, later on in their careers. Some people don't ever realize it ever. So that envy aspect of people needs to get away from, just stray away from that envying other people's lifestyle or where they have and what they don't have. Focus on your own stuff. You have enough on your plate to worry. So, I stay away from that stuff. And people, when they come to me like, oh, that guy's giving everything, I'm like, man, who cares? Like, just do your stuff. Like, just be quiet. But one thing I do want to talk to you about, and I feel like this is a lot that happens, even like it's all across board. People buy things they can't afford in cash, or even like they should. So like, there's this thing, right? I'm like, one day I want to buy a Porsche. I'm like, but I'm like, I can't buy that Porsche unless I have like 10 times the money to afford it, like cash. Because like we see a lot of people renting cars, like they make $50,000 a year, but they have a car that's $40,000. It's like, how does that make any sense? Like that makes no. I came across people. I'm like, he's like, I just bought this car. I'm like, how much is a car? He's like, yo, his car is $40,000. I'm like, how much you make a year? He's like, $60,000. I'm like, help it make sense. Well, like you're paying $1,000 a month on this car payment for what? Like the people don't want to take a backseat to buy something small. So what if you have a small Civic, an old Civic, or whatever it is? Do you feel like why is that so prominent? It is like people buy these crazy extravagant things, but they can't afford it in reality. But in their head, they think they can afford it. Why is that something like a connection psychology? I don't know what it is. It has to be something that doesn't make any sense.
I think it's a multitude of things. What I see a lot is as people progress in their career, they get a promotion, pay raise, they start to spend more money, right? Like, oh, I just got promoted to manager. I'm not going to drive around this beater Civic. I need like a Mercedes now. I need like a BMW. I need like a, an Audi. I need something like top of the line luxury because I'm a manager. Be like, brother, sister, like, do you really need that? Like your car's paid off right now. Like it's paid off and it's low maintenance. It's, so I think a lot of people fall into that trap. It's called like lifestyle creep or lifestyle inflation, where when your income goes up, your expenses go up, and then you save nothing. Because the goal really is to increase your income and then decrease or keep your expenses the same. So the gap gets bigger. But a lot of people, they do this. Everything goes the same. Or even worse, they spend more. So now it's like you have a $60,000 car, but you make $40,000 a year. And now the math is not mathing. That doesn't. That's now they're just lost in the sauce. That's just exactly. The other thing too is I think it's like keeping up with Joneses, right? Keeping up with your friends. Hey, Amrit bought a Beamer. Oh, Mook just bought a Mercedes. I'm driving a Civic, but these are my buds and my bros. I want to keep up with them. I'm gonna go buy like an Audi. But like, I don't know your financial situation. I don't know your financial situation. Like your car's paid off. Yours is a business write-off. Mine is like personal. I'm just paying cash for it, and I'm like bleeding cash, and I look like an idiot because I'm the one that's like spending the most, but trying to keep up with you guys. So I think it's like lifestyle creep, keeping up with the Joneses, and then I think just like overall expectation of like what we should have.
When do you think it is the right time to like kind of scale within, I guess, in a sense of like there's that book, Good Debt, Bad Debt. Like me and I are talking about it all the time. It's just, if you are going to be spending it on such liabilities, then you should be prioritizing assets first. And there's a whole different, bunch of ways you can build assets through real estate. Of course, well enough. When is the right time to kind of like scale up those type of liabilities?
Personally, I have no problem being a millionaire driving a beater Civic. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. But I'm somebody who I actually enjoy cars, and like that's something that I really like. I don't want to say invest in because they're not really investments, but I invest my money into them because I enjoy them. Like it brings me fulfillment and happiness. So when are you ready? I would say at least have that amount in cash twice, right? So if you're going to buy a $40,000 car, have $80,000 in cash that's sitting there in your bank account that you don't even need to touch because you have other assets that are already growing on the side. Right? True. Not like, hey, I've got $80,000 in the bank, but I've got nothing else. Right? And I'm going to go buy a $40,000 car. Like that's insanity to me. Right. And I actually use this philosophy with like everything. And it goes even down to like gym, like runners, like runners for the gym, like shoes.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to spend $200, I better have $400 ready to go.
Yeah.
And there was a point in my life where I was really trying to accelerate my wealth building, where every time I bought something, I doubled it and I put that balance into my TFSA. So I buy $200 pair of runners, $200 goes in my TFSA. Now it actually costs me $400. I'm going to treasure this thing more. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to clean it and like use it properly because I know that it actually cost me double. So that's a little mindset shift that people can do. And it can go down to as small as like a coffee. If I'm going to go to Starbucks tomorrow, spend $8 on a latte, put $8 into your savings account, emergency fund, TFSA, whatever it is.
I think what you were just mentioning about just coffee, just something as simple as just coffee. I mean, nowadays coffee is just ridiculous how expensive it is.
It's like $9-10 for damn coffee. I'm like, what's going on?
It's like insane. And there's actually, I wish, like we'll show some videos. I don't know if I put it in there, but there is this, I forgot what his name was, but he was just mentioning like you should be stressing about $5 coffee, right? Like that is something.
O'Leary? Huh? Was it Kevin O'Leary? No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't Kevin O'Leary. It was someone else. I forgot his name. But he was just saying like you should be stressing about $5 coffee. You should be focused on your main expenses, your big expenses. But at the same time, it's just like when you're at a point when you have that type of knowledge where you're just like those expenses are very limited, right? Because you're prioritizing what's important, like just like building your mindset, learning new skills and stuff like that. And you're really trying to take it further. I want to say extreme level, but you're just like, okay, this $5 coffee. I don't need to get Starbucks, whatever it is. I can just make coffee at home and trying to increase that gap that you have. Like, what do you think of that? Like, should we stressing about just something small as just a $5 coffee? Like, how should we go with?
That's your building blocks, though, right?
Yeah. Think about it this way: if you're trying to wash a car and your hose has holes in it, are you going to wash it faster if there's no holes or if there's holes, right? So when people think about $5 coffee, like, oh, Nelson, like it's $5, who cares? And I'm like, yeah, but your hose is leaking right now. Right? $5 here, $5 there, subscriptions, right? Like people are subscribing to all these things. Like Uber, you got DoorDash, you got Uber, you got all these things, which fine, just get one. Do you need all of them? Right? So I don't believe that saving $5 on coffee every day is going to make you rich or build you wealth. But it's the fundamental. Fundamentals. Hey, I'm going to be cautious and conscious about my money and where it's going, so that the $5 coffee turns into the $500 that I save a month by scrapping all these wants that I don't need to spend on.
The needless things you don't need.
Exactly.
And one of the topics I want to discuss with you is collective work compared to individual work. Like, actually, this book is a prime example. Like, ego is, it kills a lot of people's understanding of business. So what I mean by that is, now, for example, let's say take this book, right? Imagine if it didn't have these names, and it didn't have the other. It only had Nelson. It boosts your ego, but like, I did this, right? But a lot of people don't understand is collective work more often will lead to more success than individualistic work, right? So I wanted you to speak. So speak on that, like on your side, Nelson. Like, how had that blossomed your relationships, and how had that allowed you to succeed greater things in life when it comes to more collective work rather than individual work? Like, speak on that more. Like, because I want to. Like, a lot of people think like, oh no, like me. Like, I want the money coming to me. Like, oh man, that person he can't have the same amount of money. Like, it kills. Like, ego. It's ego that kills us.
That's a really amazing question, and thank you for asking that, because I think that's probably the most important question that or discussion that we'll have today. My consulting business called FSQ Consulting, we actually have one of our values is we is always greater than me. And that means collaboration and teamwork, because like you can do so much yourself, but without your partners, your friends, your network, you won't get very far. Right. So when you talk about ego, like that's always outside for me. Like that's at the door. I don't care if it's at the gym, if we're recording a podcast, if we're talking about financial literacy, like I don't know everything. Please teach me something. Right. Because you guys see a different perspective from what I see. Right. You have different friends, different colleagues, everything. But every aspect of my life, when I understood the power of collaboration and teamwork, all the way down to like my personal relationship with my partner, to my business, to everything, like real estate, financial literacy, like everything transformed and elevated like exponentially. Like Grant Cardone calls it the 10x effect. Like my whole life has 10x'd because of that mindset. And there's no like, hey, take those other names off the book, because I just wanted to be myself, because maybe 50% of the population don't want to hear from just me.
Exactly.
They want to hear from my partners and my friends who we collaborated on.
Yep.
Like if I sat here and just recorded this podcast by myself, I'd get like 1% of the listeners because they want to hear from you guys, right? They want to hear what we have to say together.
Perspective.
So yeah, collaboration, whatever it is, even talking about money with your friends and your family, that's so important because together you can achieve so much more.
Yeah. So true. And that's the one thing that I tell people. I'm like, man, build a sense of community around you. It will lead you to a greater path than you trying to be like, no, I got to make this money on my own. I got to do this on my own. And like, this book is a prime example, as you've spoken to. Like, it's cool. I could have written this book just myself, but as a collective work, it's a greater product, right? And that's a great thing that a lot of people can get out is like, it's okay to seek help for something you don't know. As you've spoken to, like, hey, I don't know everything about financial literacy. I speak of it. I'm not going to sit there and be like, hey, listen to my advice 1,000%, like 10 toes down, listen to everything I say. But don't do that, right? Like surround yourself with people that empower you to do better, and it will help you in the longevity time because now you have these connections for a lifetime. Right?
No, that's perfect. Well said. I think what we'll do is because we're cutting it pretty close here to the end of the podcast.
You want to react to a couple of videos?
Well, we're actually, we'll have a bit of fun.
We'll do the CEO diary one. That one was a good one. The CEO diary one.
Dan, do you know?
Yeah, he wanted to react to a couple of videos.
Steve Bartlett?
Okay. Yeah, I love that guy.
Oh, yeah.
The way he constructs his podcast and how his demeanor and he goes about it. I love his podcast, man.
Yeah. I think majority of all the videos that we kind of talked about it, we kind of went over it. But I think it's the one, Dan had.
Yeah.
Is it the woman?
Yeah, the woman one. The CEO one.
What's the first?
Kevin,
Her.
This one?
Yeah. As soon as they start working, they need to get onto that property ladder. But there's ways to build wealth that don't require you to be in the real estate game, including 3 numbers that everyone should know when it comes to their personal finance: 65, 20, 50. Just
kind of we spoke on that a little
bit. Because everything is trying to pull you away from your money. Cost of living going up, prices going up, fighting against marketing to keep your money in your pocket. You earned this. So it's becoming harder and harder, and I've gone through this. I followed society's version of money until I realised that if I continue living this way, the freedom, the choice, the options that I want aren't going to exist.
Yeah, like just speaking, just pause that one, I think, until like just even like speaking to like video like this, like conversation, like we see this like amongst people that we think that are well out, but like, oh, they just have it all. And, it's so important to have conversation within smaller communities like ourselves. It's like, listen, like, it's great. Like, you can say, like, oh, they have it all. But I'm like, there's people that are coming up, like, from nothing and, like, building it, like, ourselves, like, a prime example that live next to you are, like, epitome of understanding financial and actually taking the next step. Anybody can take the next step. It doesn't have to be given where you are but, like, no, man, like, they already have it. I can't attain that. And like even that video is a prime example. Like I forgot her name. What was her name? I forgot her name for the podcast. I guess you know her name.
I can't remember.
But she's like her work is amazing. Like she provides like a lot of empowerment for women and understanding literacy. Because a lot of the time, like women are deemed as like, oh, like you guys just stay at home and all that like that. The nuclear family type. But she provides great insight, whether it's men or women. So. When it comes to that video, what's your thoughts on what she said? We kind of actually spoke on everything you kind of spoke on.
Yeah, I like what she said about I followed society's plan about money. Yeah. And I feel like that's where the vast majority of people go, right? Like I'm going to, go to school, get education, get a job, start a family, buy a house, the American dream, as they call it, and then realize at the end of the day that this isn't what I really wanted. So I always encourage people, like, do a lot of reflection, right? Like I personally do a lot of journaling. I've been made fun of it many times about journaling. Like again, it goes to the gender thing, right? Like women, you're supposed to be housemakers and let the man of the family run the finances and you just take a back seat. Whereas like for guys, it's like, no, like don't do that emotional stuff because, that's what girls do. Like, no, do what you need to do to understand what you're trying to build. And when you have an understanding of that, then you need to take the intentional action to go and build it. Right? No, Too many 100%. People are speaking in hollow words, right? They're just saying things. Oh, one day I'm going to, my friend told me one day I'm going to go buy a journal. I'm going to start. And then 6 months later, hey, did you buy the journal yet? No. Next time I saw him, I gave him one. Great. Have you started journaling yet? No, I haven't. I got to go find a pen. And I'm like, brother.
Is this a joke?
Like, brother, like, come on. Like, he's steps. Like, I don't want to, I don't want to take the steps, right? Because it's too much time investment. Like, you got to reflect. You got to do it.
We're worried about people's opinion too much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Life's going to pass you by. You're going to be worried about when you're 30, 40, 50. And now you're going to be laying on your deathbed. Like, man, I wish I listened to Nelson when I was 30. Like, you don't want to get to that point. You don't. You don't want to get to the point where you have regrets at certain time in your life. Like, I wish I'd done that. Yeah. Do what you put forth and do it to your best of your ability. If it doesn't work out, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to fail.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about life. We got another day. We wake up tomorrow. We try again. And that's the beauty about life.
Yeah, 100%. I think we got one more, actually. It's I think it's something that we haven't really touched on.
Which one?
Dennis, this is the last one, I think.
Which one was this one?
It's the 4 accounts.
Should have
couple
4
one.
bank accounts.
Oh, yeah.
You have the one
Steve
bank
Harvey.
account.
Steve, love this guy.
Put your check in, and that's your joint account. It pays bills, light, car notes, everything that's a necessity to live. The second account has a savings account where you both agree to put X amount of dollars of that money in it, and it takes 2 signatures to move it. The third and fourth account, she should have her own bank account, and you should have your own bank account. And you decide what money comes out of the pot to go that way. She can do whatever she want to do. She ain't got to check with you and ask, and you can do whatever you want to do, and you ain't got to check with her and ask. And that way, guess what? The bills are paid, you have a roof over your head and a car to drive. You want to try to save a little bit of money.
We can pause that there.
But what are your thoughts on that? Like, because some people are like, okay, you should have 3 accounts. One is for each person. One is for, a joint account. Now he's saying 4 accounts. Some people say, like, just have 1 account. I was like, bro, which one is it?
Yeah, we don't talk about that enough, though.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to being in a partnership and how to distribute, like, bank accounts or whatever that is, we don't talk about it enough, actually.
Yeah.
Like, even taking it to another level, too, is just adding on to it. It's just, like, the expenses side of it, too, because then you bring your own type of burden as well. Like, if you haven't been taught financially well enough and you just been kind of just, like, splurging on things, does your partner then take on the responsibility to pay that off as well?
You gotta have the talk before you get married, though.
Yeah. Totally. So for my perspective, I don't care if you have 1 bank account or 1,000 bank accounts. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
There's no set number. It's what works for you. But before that, even you need to talk to your partner about money.
Mm-hmm.
I remember with my wife now, like on our first date, like I asked her, I'm like, "Do you have debt?"
Yeah.
And I remember she was like,
hold on,
we just having coffee, bro.
Are we
like,
getting married tomorrow?
Yeah, right. So, but that was important to me, right? And it wasn't like, hey, I'm judging you. It was like, I need to know what I'm getting into here.
Yeah.
And I think too many people are hiding this under the rug, right? They're saying, I don't want to talk about my money because it's my money and whatever. But it's like, if you're trying to build something together, you need to be aligned.
Yeah.
So going to that video, I don't care if you have 1 bank account, 3 bank accounts, 4 bank, it doesn't matter. Just have alignment in your plan. But I like that though. Like you each have your own, and then you have 1 or 2 joint accounts where hey, this is the rule. We're each contributing X amount in, and this account is specifically for A, B, C, D things.
Yep.
And then whatever is in your own accounts, you do whatever you want. You get a bonus. Feel free to contribute more. Not required. Spend it as you will. Our rule in our household is if we're making any significant purchases, we talk about it first.
There's a funny saying, like, I know I'm gonna get hate for this. You know how, like, when a woman comes to it, but like, listen, your money is my money, but my money, is my money as well, right? Like, it's in a jokingly manner, but some people do take it to a literal sense where they lose track of saving money, because for now, man has to prove, like, okay, like, I got you no matter what, we're expensive. Now you're buying $4,000 purse, $5,000 purse, without actually understanding the consequences that comes behind it. Now you're struggling, like, man, how am I going to pay off this credit card?
Yeah.
Comes down to a conversation.
Yeah, it comes
first, right?
really
Like,
does.
I have no problem with $5,000 purses and $100,000 cars, 10,000 watts. I don't have a problem with that. My problem is when people are spending it out of turn or out of time, right? Like, it's not the right time for you.
It is,
You know, you just got a job that's paying you $80K. Why are you financing a $100,000 car? And then paying 8% interest on it.
Crazy.
Right? Like, it doesn't make sense. So just make sure that your timing is right. Make sure you have alignment, and then move with intention.
True. And there's going to become people like, you'll come across people where that alignment is not going to be there. And you just got to walk away from that.
Yes.
A lot of people have that because they're like, they're with that person, they find it hard to walk away. But like, no, I'm going to make it work. You're not going to make it work.
Yeah.
You're just going to strain yourself. You're going to deprive yourself of your mental health. your emotional side. Now you're going to feel deprived, and then there's going to be issues with your relationships. Now you're going to start fighting. Now you're going to hate each other. Like it builds up to something. It just builds up more and more.
And you know what? That's not just like your personal household relationships. That's your social relationships too, your professional network relationships. If you're around people who, they just constantly want to keep spending money and it's not within your budget or how you want to spend your money to build whatever you're trying to build, you got to get rid of them. Like,
it's so
remove
true.
yourself from that situation.
That's actually, that's a really good point. Because one time I went on this trip with the boys and I realized, I'm like, I can't spend like them. I'm like, you know what? This is not for me. I'm like, you guys might be afford this, but I can't. So for me, I took myself away from that group because I'm like, I can't afford what you guys do. I can't. And it's okay to do that.
100%
a lot of people have that fear, like, I don't want to lose them. It's okay to lose them. If they don't serve the purpose in your life during that time, it's okay. If you reconnect later, sure. But it's okay not to put yourself at strain. But like, no, I got to go out with them. Like I can't lose them as friends.
And doesn't mean you have to lose them. I mean, you can have that conversation with them. Hey, guys, like I can't be spending, $6,000-$7,000 for a 5-day vacation like this. Or every time we go out, we drop $200. I can't afford that. Is there something that we can do? Maybe can we go hang out at someone's house or go to the park and shoot some hoops or something? Whatever it may be.
No. On that note, man, that's beautifully put. I think we kind of covered all the bases that I really wanted to. And even for yourself, if there's anything else that you feel like a message you want to send out, and for the people that that are looking for to get your books, where they can get it, life literacy, where can they find you guys at? Give us your last little drops on everything that we have discussed.
Thank you guys for having me. This has been incredible, and thanks for everyone listening. For me, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm always posting content. If you just Google my name, you'll be able to find me. The book you can find on Amazon. It's at Indigo, Barnes & Noble's chapters online.
Wow, cool.
It's available everywhere. So.
Hey man, I highly recommend people getting it.
Thank you.
I really do. I think people in our, whether it's 20s, 30s, 40s, there's never a time not to learn. It's always there's always time to learn. And then books like these, I think people need to read them more.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I just feel like books are like our silent mentors, right?
They really are.
100%.
But on that note, man, thank you for taking time out of your day and appreciate the talks. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
All right. See you.
Peace.
You guys.
Perfect.
That's